morning, Club Awesome.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Club Awesome.
Good morning.
Right, that's better. How many of you have had to do a presentation or a speech where one of the requirements was that you had to engage your audience? Everyone, right? Because every presentation, speech you do, you need audience engagement. Today, I will share with you how to get to know your audience in order to engage your audience. In order to engage your audience and getting to know your audience, we have here 6 things that we need to take into consideration. Today, I will focus on 2, the age range and the occupational status. However, we also have knowing their economic status, their educational background, their political orientation, and their leisure activities that they may engage in. All these 6 components will help you to get to know your audience. Back to the first one that I will be discussing, the age range. You want to know, are you speaking to kindergarten children in terms of their age? Are they age 4, 5, 6? So you could gear your speech towards them. Is it someone in high school, college, or are you speaking to someone who's getting ready to retire and you need to be able to gear your topic towards these individuals? The second one is their occupational status. What do they do for a living? Of course, you need to consider if you're going to give a speech and let's say it's about retirement. You're not necessarily going to go to that elementary school and speak to those students about retirement because, yes, some may have heard some things about that, but they're nowhere close to thinking about what am I going to do when I retire. They're thinking about what do I need to do when I grow up, right? That's usually their concern. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Poll Everywhere. Everyone has a cell phone here or iPad. Is there anyone who doesn't have a cell phone? Okay, so I'm going to have you could take those out now so you can have it handy and available to you. And just so you know, Poll Everywhere is something that I use in the classroom as a way to engage my audience. It could be embedded in your PowerPoint and just like I have here. So this is a clip snip from my PowerPoint and you have a Poll Everywhere icon right here on your screen in your PowerPoint. If you don't already have it, it's a free service and some organizations provide the premium service free of charge, where you can do a little bit more with it. However, just as a regular individual, you're able to get that service. At this time, I want you to get your cell phone out, and you're going to type this number in here, 37607. That will be the phone number.
Is this a text?
Yes, sorry. Yes, you're going to text. So pretend the phone number is 37607. And then the message, your first message is going to say OT Cares. It doesn't matter if it's all caps or not.
And send it.
Yes. Is there anyone who needs assistance with that? Did everyone get to the screen? Yes. Anyone still trying to get that going? No? We're there? Okay, so now we go to our responses. And I'm just going to step over here to just...
I guess maybe I should not there. Is that the phone number?
37607, yes. And then go down into the bay text message, OT Cares.
OT Cares?
Yes. And hit send.
And then you're going to select...
You got to create an account.
No, you don't have to create an account. You should just do it.
You just send a letter.
And you're just going to select one of these based on your age group. Are you 15 through 24, 25 through 44, 45 through 64, or 65 plus?
Cool.
That's what you want us to put in?
Yes, so you're going to select A, B, C, or D relating to those age groups.
This only works if you joined a presenter session.
No, just by putting in, did you put in the OT Cares?
Yeah.
Then you should just...
Some people just
Says it's not open.
Says it's not activated.
Oh, well, that's...
Do it again.
I had a timer on it, so it went...
Oh.
Yeah, the timer. Let's see if we reset and you're able to input it.
Send it again.
Very good.
If you didn't get a chance, just try to put A, B, C, or D.
It's asking me for my
What eat?
information
What eat?
email.
Yeah.
You should just be able to.
Just from the text, you just gotta put a letter.
Just put the letter D.
Yeah, just, you don't have to put any email addresses or anything like that. So this is one option for your poll everywhere, and I'm gonna just go forward with the next slide. Keep your phones out, we'll do one more, because now it's locked. I only have it as a timer for 30 seconds, but you can always change that depending on how much time you have. Our next one is what's your occupation. So here, you're going to put we're doing a word cloud, so you could just type anything. Teacher, student, whatever you want to put. Blue was just my test, so you can go ahead and just do that. Oh yeah? That's awesome. And that's how you would get your word cloud. So it timed out again, of course, because I only said it for 30 seconds because my speech is timed. And we do have to. I know it's exciting, right? You want to keep going. And of course, the goal with this, I have blue here, but I'm putting the bigger it is, that's the one that's more frequent among those individuals that did the input. So let's say someone kept putting in marketing or student, it would just get bigger and bigger, and that gives you a great idea as to who's in your audience. Okay. When you go onto your poll everywhere and you log in, you have the option where it says right here to create. As you can see, I have a few different things because I do use it for school, and you're able to create various options in terms of your poll. You see, I gave you the multiple choice option or the word cloud, and you also have a variety of options that you can use in order to create. You are also able to set up your participants to get an idea if you want. For me, I use it for grading, so for that purposes. But of course, for you, it was all anonymous, so it doesn't matter if you have participants. This is another example, and you're able to set up your audience if there's any restrictions, how individuals can respond, etc. I hope that you have learned a way today to be able to get to know your audience and engage your audience with that. Do you have any questions at this time?
Yes, what's the name of that polling company?
Poll Everywhere.
Poll Everywhere.
And please see me after the presentations if you have any additional questions. Mr. Toastmaster?
Who here has seen Star Wars? Who here has heard of Star Wars? Well, of course. The movies themselves made $7 billion. The toys made $14 billion and growing. In December of 1975, George Lucas realized he did not have a toy contract. He was going to all the big toy companies, but he had one caveat. He refused to let you see the movie. He would give you a script with handwritten notes and pictures, but the toy company would have to come up with their own ideas. He went to Mattel. They looked at this and they said, no. He went to Parker Brothers. No way. Hasbro's. Are you kidding? He found a toy company on the 11th floor of a Kroger building in Cincinnati named Kenner Products. The script was given to a young man named Jim Sweninger. Jim was a science fiction person. He absolutely loved science fiction. And he saw this manual, he read this script, he loved it. He gave it to every person in the art department, every vice president. And they decided this could be something. They brought it to the president, Bernie Loomis. Big man, who looked at them like they were all insane. But there were 5 of them there saying, yes, we should do this. Bernie said, okay. They asked Bernie, how big do you want these figures? The same size as Barbie? Bernie's big, beefy hand said, no, that big. The vice president of marketing took out his ruler, said, great, we will make action figures at 3.5 inches. For the next 6 to 8 months, Kenner Toys put together prototypes of little action figures, 12 of them. They flew out to Van Nuys to meet with George Lucas and his team. George didn't really like this, But his back was against the wall because no other toy company would touch him. He said, okay. And a short agreement was written up. The agreement was that 20th Century Fox would get 2.5% of the sales. George Lucas would get 2.5% of the sales. And Kenner Toys would get 95%. There were two caveats. One, the lawyer, thinking he was funny, put in the contract that Kenner Toys would have intergalactic rights to all movies. And number two, that they would guarantee George Lucas $10,000 a year. Okay, you can live with this. Kenner got the agreement. They now had an agreement for life. They went back and they started producing all the designs that they needed. Back in the 70s, it took 2 years to bring a toy from production to the shelf. In May of 1977, the first Star Wars came out, and it was a colossal hit, and Kenner had no toys. What they did manage to do was repackage a lot of toys. They could put out board games. They could put out paint by numbers, puzzles. They took some of their old toys and just made them white and black and put Star Wars on it and handed it out. Christmas came around, no toys. But Bernie was brilliant, and he came out with a 2-part package. And what he said was, we'll put together a diorama in a box. And in that box, we'll put a certificate. And this certificate will guarantee the holder the first 4 action figures that come off the assembly line. They couldn't keep the boxes on the shelf. Kenner had hit the big stage. They were selling millions and millions of action figures and toys. By the time they got to the second movie, Kenner was off and running, and Bernie said, let's change things up and we'll make micro action figures. We will spend millions on this. We'll promote it everywhere. And it flopped. And they lost millions and millions of dollars. And after the third movie, George Lucas said he was not going to do anymore. And Kenner was in trouble. In swooped Hasbro to take the whole Kenner line. The president, Alan Hasselben, he wasn't really too interested in reading contracts and stuff like that. And when his lawyers got to the Star Wars contract and read about the intergalactic rights, they stopped reading. This was hooey. Sure enough, in 1992, George Lucas said, we are going to do another Star Wars. And Hasbro was so excited. They had the contract for life. But they forgot to read the fine print. Every year, they had to give George Lucas how much money?
$10,000.
And they did not do that. They lost all the rights to Star Wars. It now became a toy bidding war. Everybody wanted the contract for Star Wars. Hasbro went in 6 grueling days and nights. They connected with George Lucas, and they came up with a new agreement. Lost their shirts on it, because now they had to give 18% of the profits to George Lucas. It was still a good deal. And they were selling toys. They couldn't keep them on the shelves until the audience met Jar Jar Binks. And everything tanked. All the Star Wars toys ended up in the discount bin. And Hasbro thought they had been had. But like anything, there are ups and downs in every industry, and future Star Wars movies were phenomenal. And sales picked up, and Hasbro was very happy with the sales that they had. One thing that would have saved Hasbro was had they read the fine print. So my fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, when you get that contract, and you see there's a lot of pages, and in this case there only happened to be 5, and you see that really small print, and even though something like intergalactic sales is out there, be sure you read all the fine print. Mr. Toast.